Rapid Solicitors, sponsors of the Elite Ice Hockey League on Sky Sports. Accident compensation and medical negligence claims.
Hello and welcome to the Rapid Solicitors Elite Ice Hockey League highlight show here on Sky Sports. We've got many great games for you, many great goals for you. It's a busy show. Here's what we've got coming up. The Nottingham Panthers make it 2 out of 2 against the Coventry Blaze, extending their lead at the top of the league table. A 4-point weekend for Ryan Finnity's Sheffield Steelers keep them in contention. And the last NHL import, Drew Miller, has an unsuccessful end to his Elite League campaign. A very good evening to you folks. Thanks for joining us. You'll see that I'm joined as well by Sylvain Cloutier, the head coach of the Hull Stingrays. Good to see you again, Cloots. And things have changed a little bit since your last visit here. You were riding high, top of the conference only a few weeks ago, but looking at the league table now, sees you propping everybody else up. Any reasons for that?
I think before Christmas we kind of got away from keeping it simple, and we went through a little bit of a slump there before Christmas. We lost some key games in our conference, and after Christmas we got back to the way we can play. We had a couple big wins and had some close games with Sheffield and Belfast, and I think right now we're coming back on the right track, and there's a lot of games left to play, so we'll see what happens here. Schedule
wasn't kind to you either, was it? You had a run where you played, if you like, all the big clubs from the other conference, and that kind of, you need a few of your own conference games in between there, and you didn't get that run.
No, because in our conference we're doing all right. I think we're 8-6-4, and we're playing over 500. It's just we can't find a way to beat the so-called Big Five right now, and we got to find a way to do that, to get some points and steal some points. And like you said, yeah, the schedule wasn't the best, but we need, as the team in Hull, we need to rotate probably every night, play a Gardner Conference, play a Big Five, and rotate that way, and that keeps our confidence up. It's when you play the Big Five, if you do lose a few games in a row, as a coach, you got to keep that confidence going, and sometimes it's tough.
One lad that is playing with a lot of confidence for you, and is Matty Davies. Had a great season. Kind of, I won't say come from nowhere, but certainly has jumped into everybody's eye line this season, and he's obviously jumped into Tony Hand's eye line as well, because he's been named in the GB initial 32 squad. That will get narrowed down to 23. Whether Davies makes it or not, probably doubtful, but he's there, he's being recognised. He's had a great first half, hasn't he?
Yeah, Matty's done a great job for us. He's been with us now for 3 years, and he's grown as a player. We knew he was very talented offensively. The thing I want to work on with him is to make sure he can play on the other side of the puck and get better defensively. And
has he done that?
Yes, he has. He's starting to become that complete player, and I've given him more responsibilities this year, and he's taken full advantage of it, and he totally deserves to get that call.
He's just kind of moved up an echelon, hasn't he? He's moved into a different category of British player now, how he's perceived outside.
Yeah, I mean, he's a key guy now for us at Hull, and he was a young guy when he came to us, and now he's one of those guys. I think he's in the top 10 in scoring, and he's one of the highest scorers in the British side of things. So, Matty's done a wonderful job, and hopefully he'll keep that going. And if he does make it, that's great. And if he doesn't, at least he gets that experience, and maybe he'll be on the radar for next season.
More from Cloots in a short while on GB and, of course, on all the games around the league. Let's start off our action then. We'll head over to the Odyssey Arena in Belfast. The Giants versus the Sheffield Steelers. Was it too early to say this was a must-win game for the Sheffield Steelers? No, it wasn't. They had to beat Belfast. Did they, Chris?
This was a clash that Sheffield very much needed to win to get themselves back into the title race. And the two sides served up a thriller, 77 shots on goal. And Sheffield here coming away with the puck, but then a big hit on the boards there by Matheson. He went to the box, so it was to be a power play for the Sheffield Steelers. A no goal on that one, and then to period 2. A great move involving Limbright and Stevenson, and Gertson scoring his 12th goal of the season. 1-0 Sheffield then, 7:37 gone in period 2. It got even better as the period came to a close. A power play goal from Jeff Le Gui, a 20th marker of the season, so the Steelers led by 2-0 at the end of 2 periods. Ashley Tate raced away right-hand side and then inside for his 14th goal of the season, set free by Sarridge. That was 3-0. There was a slight nervy end to the game for the visitors. Mistake by Danny Myers let him Rycroft to score a 9th goal of the campaign, but it didn't matter. Former Belfast giant Scott Champagne had an assist on this goal, and Ferguson had the task of an empty net. Final score in the Odyssey Arena. Big win for the Steelers. Belfast 1, Sheffield 4.
I bet Corey Nelson was delighted with that result, wouldn't he? Just keeping Belfast a couple more points back. But a huge win for Sheffield, but also a big result for Nottingham, a team not in that building on the night. Yeah,
it was a big win for Fenner's team. I mean, everyone's talking about Nottingham and Belfast, and they seem to forget that Sheffield's still right there. And with that win, obviously they're still in it. I mean, they're not far off, and obviously they're still going to have games against Nottingham, and you never know what's going to happen. But it was a must-win for Sheffield, and they went there and did a great job. Sheffield
have got a winning record, 4-2 against the Belfast Giants. What is it that they do well against Belfast that some other clubs obviously aren't doing?
Obviously, Finner's got them well prepared, and when you go into Belfast, it's a tough building to go in, and when you go there, you got to be well prepared. You got to be ready from the drop of the puck. They come at you hard at the start, and the type of team that Sheffield has, they can compete with you. They can play physical with you, and they keep the puck out of their net. They got a solid defense there, and DeCaro's been playing well for them.
Okay, let's take a look at some of the action from that game. First goal was always going to be key, wasn't it? And Sheffield got it.
Yeah, it was a great setup there by Limprite there. You need that first goal in that building to get going and quiet the crowd too. It's a loud building, and as you can see, a nice empty net goal here. And
it was a pretty neat empty net goal, that wasn't it? He did that pretty well.
Yeah, it was a nice little toe drag there before he went in there and put it in.
Was it an essential win for the Sheffield Steelers? Would it have been a 2-horse race if they'd have failed to beat Belfast? It would have looked very difficult, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I think it would have been really tough to come back, and the further you fall behind, it's hard to climb, and it was a must-win, and Finner's team did a great job, and they got the 2 points they needed.
We'll look at the table in a short while, but just your view on those top 3 teams. I've said that Nottingham are probably odds-on favourites right now. Would you agree, or do you think it's still fairly even?
I kind of agree with you. Nottingham's, they just added Beauregard too. I mean, another import coming in to give them some more firepower. I think this is the year for Nottingham. I think it's up to them. They control.
What have they done differently this year then? Because they've been a great powerhouse team for a number of years. Yeah. What is it this year?
I think the biggest thing this year with Nottingham is they've been consistent. Over the years, they would win 8 or 9 in a row, then they'd go on a losing streak. And from my past experience winning the league title in Coventry is that you had to be consistent. You had to get points every weekend. You couldn't afford to lose 4 or 5 games in a row. And this year, you look at Nottingham, they just keep going every weekend. They don't stop. And the group they got there, doesn't matter as a coach which line you match against or what you want to do, who you want to shut down. If you play a line against Fox and you think they're going to shut it down, and the other line comes back, and they got so much firepower there, so much talent. I think it's their year. Like I said, it's up to them now. They control their own destiny here the rest of the way.
The Nottingham Panthers then, favourites for the Elite League, so says Sylvain Cloutier. Time for more action now. Let's head up north to Glasgow, in fact, where the Braehead clan were taking on the Fife Flyers.
A short bench Braehead clan side took to the ice once more without a number of key players, including Jade Galbraith. But they took the lead in the first period. Miller and Burnstill setting up Kristanovic for goal number 11 of the season. So the home side ahead at 7:54. But as the period went on, the Flyers got back into the game, and from 1-0 down, they levelled at 1-1, just past the midway point. Pitton's pass from the right-hand side being turned in by Hock. Goal number 17 of the season. He beat the impressive British player Mike Will in net. Will in at the moment. He's had a run of games, and he has impressed as a replacement for Garrett Zemlak. So that was 1-1 after period 1 and to period 2, and once more it was the same combination. Chamon and Pitton setting up Hock, second of the night, 18th of the season, and 35 seconds into the period it was 2-1 to the visitors. But as the period was beginning to spark into life, a wraparound for the departing Drew Miller, a 15th of the season for him, McPherson and Nicoletti with the assists. So the game was level, and it was swinging this way and that. Still in period 2, just past the midway point of the game. Chaumont with his third assist, Hogg with the other one, and Pitton there scoring a 13th goal of the year. 3-2 to the visitors in period 2. To the third period, and on the power play, back came the Braehead clan. Patient work, Kristanovic and Goldie got the assist. And there, from the left-hand side, just edging towards that side, Burnstill, the former Steeler, he made it 3-3. Overtime was beckoning, and indeed, it did go to that extra period. A Braehead attack was snuffed out by the visitors, and they were to come forward. 4-on-4, of course, plenty of room on the ice, and Keister and Pitton get the assist, and Keller scores the game-winning goal, his 5th of the season. Final score, Braehead 3, Fife 4.
Another road win then for the Fife Flyers. Congratulations to Todd Dutium and his team, and we'll talk, I'm sure, about Braehead and some of the issues that they're having, but you have to give credit to Fife. They really have turned it around, and they've got some scorers, they've got good goaltending, they've got a bit of everything right now.
Yeah, they do. I think Todd and Stewie have done a great job up there putting that team together. You look at some of their key guys, and that Pitton's just come in and done an excellent job for them, and their keeper's been solid. And
Haynes as well, everything seems to kind of goes through him, doesn't it?
Yeah, when Haynes, he controls the play, he controls that team, he's their key guy, and when you do play against him, you got to keep an eye out for him. But also what's impressed me is their Scottish guys have come in, and you know, they've grown so much since last season to this year by getting all this ice time, and they've done a great job for that team. That gives them a lot of depth. Quick
word on Braehead. We shouldn't see Rilling goal week in, week out. The import netminder should be there. There's an issue with Zamlak. We're hearing rumours that by even as close as this weekend, there could be a new goalie in Braehead. It doesn't look a settled camp right now, does it?
No, obviously you hear all the rumours. You know, there's a lot of talk about what's going on in Braehead, but obviously you got to give credit to that young keeper. He's done a fantastic job for Braehead. He's stepped in and hit the team in front of him, and they're playing short, and you know, they've done a great job. They're still grabbing points playing short-handed, and they're missing Galbraith, and obviously losing Chaumont to Fife going the other way. He's a great pickup for Fife, obviously, and no, I mean, I think you got to give that young kid credit. He's done a great job for them.
No, absolutely. Sometimes, though, you wonder why he's put into that position in the first place, but he's reacted well. Took the 2 points off Fife, didn't he, the week before? Let's take a look at some of the action from that game. I think we're going to see Hogg's 2 goals.
I got a great pass there, and you know, you leave him alone, you give him that time, he is going to bury that. And again, you see Fife, they're just cycling the puck so well, and they find out that room, that soft area, and he puts it in. He's got a great shot.
Drew Miller's last goal as a member of the Braehead clan.
Yeah, nice wraparound there. He's so quick. You know, I'm pretty happy he came to play in our league, but also happy that he's left now. He's beat us by himself twice here.
Keller's winner there as well, and the reaction that a winning goal gets.
Yeah, that was a great shot by Keller there. You know, anytime you get the chance like that, and you got all the time in the world to pick the corner.
Just a quick word on Miller. I think all the NHLers did themselves, their league and their clubs that they came for very well indeed, and Miller was probably the least talked about, but actually did a fine job, didn't he, for Braehead?
Yeah, he did. I mean, I got to see him 3 times we played against him, and
you got to see him too much, didn't you?
Yeah, we did. I mean, he one game in Hall, he totally dominated the game by himself. He took charge, and he single-handedly beat our team, and he did the same thing when we went up in Braehead. He scored the overtime winner and set up a couple before that, so I was happy. Obviously, he played in our league, but I'm also kind of happy that he's gone now.
Cloutier is also happy on Saturday night. Join us after the break and you'll find out why. Well, we've got highlights of Cardiff versus the Hull Stingrays. Don't go anywhere.
Sponsors of the Elite Ice Hockey League on Sky Sports. Sponsors of the Elite Ice Hockey League on Sky Sports.
Welcome back to the Rapid Solicitors Elite Ice Hockey League highlight show here on Sky Sports. Let's get straight to the big blue tent. I tell you what, the old dog here couldn't get there quick enough on Saturday. He had good reason as well, didn't he, Chris?
The Stingrays arrived in the big blue tent on a run of 6 defeats away from home, so they needed a good start in Wales. Well, they had an explosive start in terms of the action on the ice and a fight. Now we have in the white Ryan Hand, in the red Jesse Gimblett. Hall's Hamd, he's 27, born in Ottawa, 6'1", played in the CHL last year. And Gimblett of the Devils is 28, born in Newtonville, Canada, 6'2", and came to the Cardiff Devils from the East Coast. So a great battle between these two. It went on, as you can see, for some time. Both players really going for it. In the end, it was Hamd who got the takedown, and a great start for the supporters in the big blue tent. And it was a brilliant start for the Cardiff Devils. A backhand on the doorstep by Davis, a 9th goal of the season, and 49 seconds gone. 1-0 Cardiff, and the action got feisty once more. Dump in there by Richardson. Here Blight and Otterlin start to go at it. Really, it was started by Blight. He gets the instigator for this one, and there really was little that Otterlins could do, but it's Blight who will sit in the box in the end for 17 minutes. So things were good for Cardiff at that stage. There'd been a couple of fights, and they were leading by 1-0. And then short-handed, Faulkner, the league's leading goal scorer, continues his trend. 26 now for the season. It was 2-0 Cardiff in the first period. Now, more goals followed in a thrilling opening session. A breakaway here from Tendler, taking the puck off Marsh. It was 2-1 then. That one short-handed as well. So a 1-goal game at 11:35. And then at 15:22, Squires breaks free right-hand side, a cross-ice pass, and Cloutier levels things up at 2-2. Now, after the weekend, Paul Reagan, the Cardiff owner, issued a statement demanding more from his side, saying that they'd become complacent and also asking more from the management. Well, things got worse in that first period for the home side. Tendler scored what turned out to be the game-winning goal. Final score, Cardiff 2, Hull 3.
Complacent is one word that you should never use about Jared Adams or the Cardiff Devils. Just get that straight. I tell you what, though, what a great result for the Hull Stingrays. Not being disrespectful, I don't think too many people expected that. You worked hard and took the chances.
Yeah, we knew going in we had to be ready. I mean, G's always got his teams well prepared, and when you go in there, you're going to have to compete. And I told the boys before the game, we got to be ready to compete, especially the first 10 minutes. They're going to come at you. They come hard, and you know what? We did a great job, and it was a massive win for us. You know, we needed that win.
Always need great goaltending, don't you, in that building as well, and Bounds gave you that.
Yeah, Boundsy was solid. You know, Boundsy's been playing well for us all season. He's given us a chance to win a lot of games, and some nights we let him down, and he stood on his head there in Cardiff. He made some big saves for us. We're
going to see the two Tendler goals in just a second. As we get into that, I've said for years, Tendler, is a big club going to take him? Are they going to look at him? But he keeps scoring 30, 40 goals a season. He's doing something right. As we see these two goals, tell us why, if you like, not you should lose him, but why he is such the player he is.
Well, when I first got Tendler with me, he was in Corpus Christi. I traded from. I mean, in all the reports I had from him, from junior coaches, from the college route, the guy can put the puck in the net, and he's got a great reach, and he's got a great shot, and he's one of the best penalty killing at picking pucks off. And you know,
what about that old guy there? Who gets in there, just drives to the net, eh?
Yeah, that's just old school goal there. Just drive to the net, you stick down, and hope things hits you. And the puck hit me, and it went in. It's always nice to chip in.
Let's go up north to Dundee. The Dundee Stars in action. Chris Ellis will talk you through this one.
Edinburgh's recent good form had seen them move off the bottom of the Elite League table. Dundee, of course, always good at home. And the Gardner Conference still very much alive. Goalie interference there. Hutchins on Hyadlowski. And the Dundee Stars player coach was to sit for 2 minutes. Plenty of chances throughout the game. 31 shots on goal for Edinburgh, 32 for the Stars. Here we see Leanweber set up this chance, and 2 attempts in front of net. First of all, Hartman and Yarrelin going close. But in period 2, we saw the first goal of the game. Edinburgh attacking at one end. It was terrific work from Doug Krantz. It's sent away Bagran, and Bagran into the offensive zone. He scores goal number 1 of the night. It was a 9th goal of the season for him, and the Dundee Stars actually scored the only goal of the second period. So 1-0. It was the way of the home side. There was plenty of chances though for Dundee to make it goal number 2, and Hyadlowski was on the way to making some terrific saves. But then Edinburgh as well, they had chances too on net, but just as the game was coming to a close, the netminder was pulled and some attempts at the empty net. First of all, Hay, And that one, of course, didn't go in, but you'll see from this one that Hutchins does score into an empty net. Bit of work to do before this one can go in. Edinburgh just managed to clear their lines and they're trying to just get that goal. But it is Wirral and Bagron combining for the player coach to wrap the game up. A 31-shot shutout for EIHL. Dundee 2, Edinburgh 0.
Another shutout for EIHL. He's having a great year, isn't he? We'll talk about both sides there, but important Dundee got back on the winning track, especially in their own conference.
EIHL is one of the best goalies in the league, and he's won a lot of games for them at the start of the season where he was making 40 to 50 saves a night, and he keeps them in and gives them a chance every night to win games.
Talk to us about Edinburgh as well. They started slowly, then had that great spell, didn't they? Just around the Christmas period. Lost a couple themselves now. Important they get back to winning ways pretty quickly.
Yeah, it is important, especially in our conference. It's so tight right now. Any one of us could really, if you get hot, you can jump away with that conference. And Edinburgh, with the additions Richard's done, the 2 new players he's brought in, I mean, obviously their team's a lot better now. And there's no easy games, and if you take anybody lightly, you're going to end up on the wrong end at the end of the night.
You are indeed. No easy games in the Gardner, no easy games in the Urquhart either. And last weekend saw 2 big games between the Nottingham Panthers and the Coventry Blaze. Back-to-back games. Night 1, Saturday evening, EIHL in Nottingham. Chris will talk us through it.
Coventry arrived in Nottingham with a bit of a point to prove. Last time the two sides met was in the Sky Dome, and the Panthers skated to an 8-0 victory. So, time to make amends for the Blaze. And although they didn't have many chances throughout the game, 20 shots on goal, there's one of them from Shay Guthrie. On the other hand, the Nottingham Panthers had 52 shots on goal, and the only goal of the game was a beauty. Watch here how David Ling creates space for himself, goes backwards, and then his vision to pick out Graham one-on-one with the netminder, and the Nottingham Panthers forward doesn't miss those in the form that he's in. And the only goal of the game came at 3:22 in the second period. So that meant that Craig Kowalski was on his way to a 20-shot shutout. But before the action was over, we saw 2 players go toe-to-toe. And not for the first time this season. They dropped the gloves, Ben Olsen and Guy Lepine. Not so many punches thrown in this fight. It was, of course, right at the end of the game. The buzzer had sounded. But this one was over, and the Nottingham Panthers had the 2 points. Nottingham 1, Coventry 0.
Well, I think with all the players the Coventry Blaze had out, we expected perhaps a bigger scoreline there. Credit to Peter Hirsch, who put on an incredible performance, but Nottingham again find the way. Yeah,
Nottingham's been finding ways all season, like we said earlier on, that you got to be consistent and to win a league title, and you got to take points away every weekend. And Nottingham's finding a way, and he did a great job tonight. Obviously, you got to give Hershey credit, like he stood on his head all night there.
You were talking at the start about how consistent Nottingham were, and maybe that's a difference this year. That's a game that maybe they could have got frustrated and lost in years gone by, but they kept at it, and they don't have to win games 8-1. They're quite happy winning them 1-0, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, they can beat you anyway, and obviously you can see there they can shut it down too and win the game 1-0, and they're a solid team all around. I mean, they got. You
were just saying any one of those 3 lines come at you, you can't match against them, can you?
No, especially us. I mean, we don't have the depth, but you look at them, they got 3 lines there. They could have 9 guys scoring 20 goals for them, and they just come at you. They're well coached. Corey's done a great job there.
Yes, he has done a good job, hasn't he? Right, time for a break now. When we come back, game 2 between the Blaze and the Nottingham Panthers. That game, of course, on Sunday at the Sky Dome Arena. Time for a cup of tea. Don't go anywhere.
Sponsors of the Elite Ice Hockey League on Sky Sports. Sponsors of the Elite Ice Hockey League on Sky Sports.
Hello and welcome back to the Rapid Solicitors Elite Ice Hockey League highlight show here on Sky Sports. Now, before the break, we saw how the Coventry Blaze got on at the NIC in Nottingham, taking on the Panthers. That was on Saturday night with the Panthers' 1-0 victory. Sunday, over to the Sky Dome Arena, where the Panthers would go into a pretty full Coventry. How would they get on, Chris?
There were 88 shots on goal throughout this game, 58 for Nottingham and 30 for the Blaze. Here's some of the ones in the first period. Shoot shot is tipped by Cameron, and then Kowalski goes down to make a double save as Cameron tries to get the rebound. At the other end, Nottingham began to get some pressure on the Blaze net. 35 shots in the first period alone. Levers and then Lakovic going close. Gallivan then coming out of the corner. And that one, close once more. Nottingham just piling pressure in an immense period of play for them. Finally, it was Hirsch who was able to go down and freeze the puck. To period 2 then. And at this stage it was 0-0, but a free-flowing move saw the first goal of the night. First of all, Shoot, and then the Lee brothers involved. A defensive mistake by the Nottingham Panthers. And the first goal scored by Cameron, the 15th of the year. So Coventry, who lost 1-0 in Nottingham the previous night, were leading in the Sky Dome by 1-0. Now a power play for Nottingham. Weaver and Benedict very much involved, and Weaver just skates to the centre, puts one on net, the save is made and the rebound by Ling. An easier goal he'll never score. So 1-1 then in period 2. In fact, that was the way it stayed at the end of the second period. This goal was created by Beckett. A dump in, the hit by Beckett, and then it's set up from Ling, and Weaver, against his former club, makes it 2-1. But the endeavours by Beckett was certainly the reason behind that goal. Nottingham then was short-handed. Fox was in the box for a 2-minute minor, and they broke away with Francis short-handed. Terrific finish, and at 12:42 in period 3, Nottingham led by 3-1, and things were going their way. There was still chance for Coventry just to apply some late pressure, chances on net, but with the netminder pulled, Lakovic gets it into an empty net, and the points were going back to Nottingham. Coventry 1, Panthers 4.
Valuable 2 points and a 4-point weekend then for the Nottingham Panthers. We can talk about the Coventry Blaze being short, but reality is Corey Nielsen can only beat who's put in front of him. Yeah,
exactly. I mean, you don't like to see teams being playing short like that. Obviously, Coventry is missing a lot of key players, but like you said, Corey's got to go out there and he's got to get his team ready. Whoever's on the ice, whoever he's facing, they got to do a job.
Talk about the Coventry Blaze for a second. I think we knew at the start of the year that they were short to start off with, so any kind of injuries would be catastrophic for them. But when you lose Bolesky, Guthrie, Domish, and Smith, you're certainly not going to beat the Nottingham Panthers, are you?
No, it's like we said earlier, their team is so stacked in Nottingham that if you end up being short when you meet them, it's even tougher. It's already hard to play against them when you got a full team, but for Tomo to lose 3 key guys like that and young Smitty there, it's tough. I mean, Guthrie's a guy that can change the game when he plays, and Domish is solid at the back end. So, no, it would have been a tough weekend. Obviously, his guys did a great job, and they battled hard all weekend. They logged a lot of ice time. I'm sure they're feeling it here this week, but you got to give those guys credit. They battled against a tough Nottingham team and kept it close here both games.
They did. Let's take a look at some of the highlights from that game. And we'll see here. Coventry actually got off to a good start. Cameron.
Yeah, Cameron drove to the net there and went around Kowalski and tucked it in. And then nice shot on goal here on the power play, and Linger's in front of the net there to tap that in. And I guess obviously the empty netter here from the Lakovic.
Yeah.
You know.
Tell me about the Nottingham Panthers. I think one of the big differences in them this year is defensively they're just a lot more solid. The change from 10 imports to 11 suited Nottingham because it kind of forced them to go with 4 import D, and they've got 4 great D. They might only be using 3 of them at the moment, but they're using that. You know, that Lapine brings something different to what Werner brings. Beckett, you've got Weaver, you've got Nielsen who's standing ready to jump in at any time. They're a better defensive team, I think, this year than they have been in the past. Is that me, or you agree?
No, I agree with you. They're solid at the back end. With Beckett coming over, I mean, he's played in the American League a long time. He's got a lot of experience.
And that Werner's quietly just gone about his job and probably as good as a defenseman as there is right now.
Yeah, he does his job well there. He's not a big guy, but he battles and competes. And with Nottingham, with Lapine, Beckett, Werner, you got Wees that's having a good season for them, and they're still missing.
It's a new lease of life for him, wasn't it, Weaver, leaving Coventry, and he's responded so well.
Yeah, he's done a great job. Obviously, he's had a few injuries in Coventry. Maybe things slowed him down there, but now he's fresh and he's had a great year for them. And also the young Stevie Lee, too. I mean, he's another D-man that's solid for them. So, no, I think...
Well, that's it, isn't it? You can talk about Nottingham's defence for 15 minutes and forget Stevie Lee, who would jump into pretty much any other team fairly easily.
Yeah, I mean, he could play on my team any day. And obviously, you forget about him with all the other guys they have. I mean, yeah, they got a lot of depth. And like we said earlier, this is their year. It's up to them to do it.
OK, right. Poor old Jared Adams had a horrible night's sleep on Saturday, courtesy of Cloutier and his team with the Hull Stingrays. He had a long bus trip as well, up to Edinburgh to take on the Capitals. It was a must-win game, or the ever-mounting pressure would get even worse. How did they get on, Chris?
Cardiff arrived in Scotland fresh from throwing away a 2-goal lead against Hull the previous night. Edinburgh now on a 2-game losing streak, and it was the visitors who went ahead. Mark Richardson with his first goal since returning from Kazakhstan. 1 became 2 before the 8-minute mark. This time McRae heavily involved, and on the rebound, Gimblett with a 4th goal of the season. So it was 2-0, 7:34 gone in the game. As the period was drawing to a close, a turnover saw goal number 3. Blight and Batch credited with the assist, and Faulkner goal number 27 of the season. So 3-0 first period lead for the visitors. That became 4 in period 2. Blight at 8:04. It started a run of 4 goals in 3.5 minutes. So 4-0, and the visitors very much in control of this game. But Edinburgh are beginning to put some good results together at home in front of their own fans. Single, a 12th goal of the season. That one 69 seconds after Cardiff had scored their 4th. And then 1.5 minutes later, Yarrolin and Leanweber. This is becoming a very dangerous line in the Elite League. The third man is Hartman, the player coach. So that was 4-2, that 4th goal in quick succession, when it went the way of the visitors. Faulkner there, a 28th of the season and a 2nd of the night, making it 5-2. But still, the visitors could not get the game out of sight. And once more, the home side coming forward in period 2, and this time Hartman and Yarrolin provide the assist for Leanweber's 10th goal of the season, and the score was 5-3 at 34-24. So to period 3, and could there be a way back for Edinburgh? Well, great hustle and hurrying by the visitors, and we saw a lovely move, Harding and Batch involved, and Faulkner completed his hat-trick and goal number 29 of the season. We weren't done though, as the game came to a close. There was a bit more drama on it. Bad line change by the Caps, and Davis threw on net. Hydlowski, but he throws his stick, so a penalty shot is called by Andy Carson. We're going to see a penalty shot for Davis and a chance to make it goal number 7. Davis in on net, can't do so. Edinburgh 3, Cardiff 6.
They didn't look too complacent to me, the Cardiff Devils. An excellent job there by Jared Adams and his team, and coming off the back of a loss at home, then that monumental journey up to Edinburgh, that could have gone pear-shaped, couldn't it, quite easily?
Yeah, I mean, it was a tough game Saturday night in Cardiff. I mean, obviously we got the 2 points, but the Devils played really well, and obviously they had a long bus ride up to Edinburgh. It's a tough place to go play. It's that long, when you sit on the bus for that many hours, it's tough coming off, and obviously the guys came in and for G and did a great job there up in Edinburgh. I was cheering for them. I was watching the scoreboard, so
I bet you were cheering for them
quite
as
glad
well.
they got the 2 points.
We talk about small rink, big rink, and you've gone from a rink in the smallest team to going to the biggest ice surface as well. It takes adjustment, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, and like you said, the small rink to the big rink. Edinburgh's got a really big ice surface, but some of the players in Cardiff, they skate extremely well. So when you get there, obviously the adjustment's a little easier. Okay,
let's take a look at some of the highlights from that. That includes, of course, Faulkner, who just can't stop scoring. He got a hat-trick.
Yeah, he just keeps going, and Blight here makes him a really nice pass, really nice feed. Those two have been connecting all season. What a pair they've been. Even here right off the draw, he's got a quick shot, lets it go, and traffic in front of the net there.
All that talk of Faulkner, we forget Blight a bit, don't we?
Yeah, Blight's done a great job. I mean, he's feeding him the puck, and those two players have been key for Cardiff this season.
Edinburgh had that winning streak, just as we said, the final Faulkner goal.
Yeah, great setup again.
Have they kind of almost shot themselves in the foot a little bit the last couple of games. Was it a blip of those victories, or is it something they can easily get back, Edinburgh?
Well,
I'm in two minds. I can't work them out at all.
Well, I find them tough to play against when we play them. I mean, I think Richard's done a great job there with that team. They got a very good keeper, and
their new signings have made a difference as well. It gave them that impetus, didn't it?
Yeah, they had added more depth, and obviously now he's got more guys he can use, and maybe Ireland doesn't get as much ice time now. He's more fresh when he goes out in the power play and the special teams. And no, I think they're still a tough team to play, and that young keeper's done a great job for them. So obviously it's a team we got to catch and got to pass. So we'll see what happens. Got
to play them Saturday as well. Time for a break now. When we come back, we'll see how Cloutier's team got on last Sunday against the Sheffield Steelers. So don't go anywhere.
Sponsors of the Elite Ice Hockey League on Sky Sports. Sponsors of the Elite Ice Hockey League on Sky Sports.
Hello and welcome back to the Rapid Solicitors Elite Ice Hockey League highlight show here on Sky Sports. Just one more game to show you between the Stingrays and the Sheffield Steelers. Before that, there was another match in Fife between the Flyers and the Braehead Clan. Unfortunately, we haven't got any footage of that, but we have got all the game details for you now. You'll see that the Fife Flyers went down to the Braehead Clan by 3-1. Robert Farmer, Ash Goldie and David Nicolette, Jason Pitton for the Flyers. That game also saw a 10-minute misconduct against Jeff Caister for abuse of an official, and that means he'll miss Saturday's game against the Sheffield Steelers. Right, time for our last sequence now between the Hull Stingrays and the Sheffield Steelers. Both of us were there. I'm pleased to say Cloutier's had a bigger impact on the game than I did.
Both sides went into the game on the back of great wins. The Sheffield Steelers winning in the Odyssey Arena against Belfast. And for the Hull Stingrays, they came from behind to beat the Cardiff Devils in the Big Blue Tent. So in Sunday's action, the first real action was a spectacle of a fight and going toe-to-toe after only 17 seconds. Frank against Hand. It's Steelers' Chris Frank against the Hull Stingrays' Ryan Ham. Plenty of punches traded in this fight. Hand got the extra penalty minutes, he had the instigator penalty, but the two of them went toe-to-toe for a good while, and you feel many times that it might be coming to a close, but they're true warriors. And eventually, when Frank goes to ground, the linesman Phil Sewell and Paul Staniforth, well, they step in, still words are exchanged, but Hand goes to the crowd, plays up to the home fans, and the first bit of action saw a tussle between two tough men. But the Steelers, well, they went on to score the first goal of the night. What a terrific skate there by Tyler Michel. Tate and Fatter getting the assist. 1-0 Sheffield at the end of the first period. It's period 2, and there was strong work on the boards. Tate was involved. Plenty of effort on those boards, including Limpright as well, and they, between them, managed to dig it out. Then it goes right-hand side, and the final touch is by Limpright for a 13th goal of the season. That's 2-0 at the end of 2 periods, so a goal in each period. Well, that pattern was to follow because there was 1 goal for the Steelers in the 3rd period. Phillips there, attempt of the season, 3-0 Sheffield, and the points were in the bag. Smith tried to rough things up there, but no one from Sheffield seemed interested. With the period drawing to a close past the midway point in the final period, a power play for the Hull Stingrays, and a neat finish there from Tendler, the 27th of the year. But the final score, Hull 1, Sheffield 3.
A 4-point weekend then for the Sheffield Steelers, and as we said at the top of the show, that keeps them in contention. Doesn't help you, of course, does it? Put a strong effort in that game. Like so many games that I look at every week here when we read the results out, it looks like the Hull Stingrays are really close to these teams, but just not scoring enough goals. You need somebody other than Tendler scoring.
Yeah, we do. I mean, we've been in every game the last few weeks, even the last month, even though we don't have too much to show for. And yeah, we need someone else to step up. Obviously, Tendler's been scoring a lot of goals for us, but there's certain other guys on our team that need to put the puck in the net too.
Can I throw a name at you? A guy that we were talking about right at the start of the year, being the be-all and end-all, was young Ozolins, who was pulling more moves than May West, wasn't he? But seems to have dried up a little bit. Have teams sussed him out a little bit?
Yeah, obviously it was. No one knew much about him when he came over. They probably didn't realize how skilled he was. He's a very skilled player, and yeah, I mean, he's struggling a little bit right now. He's got to fight through that and find a way to keep producing for us.
Yeah, you can't hide, can you? The only way you're going to get through it is by fighting it out.
Yeah, you got to work harder, and if there is people watching you or you're being shadowed out there, you got to fight through that, and you can't use that as an excuse. Oh, someone's watching me or they're playing me harder. You just got to go out there, find a way to do it, and work harder.
Okay. Right, you've seen all the goals, you've seen all the highlights. Let's just take a recap then of the scores from around the Elite League last weekend. We'll start off on Saturday the 5th of January. The Cardiff Devils 2, the Hull Stingrays 3. Belfast 1, the Sheffield Steelers 4. And the Nottingham Panthers 1, the Coventry Blaze 0 at the NIC. Up in Glasgow, the Braehead Clan going down 4-3 in overtime to the Five Flyers. And Riopel's Dundee Stars shutting out the Edinburgh Capitals. Flip forward 24 hours to Sunday. The Blaze 1, the Panthers 4. Fife 1, Braehead 3. And then another 2 road victories as well. Edinburgh going down 6-3 to Gerard Adams' Cardiff Devils, and the Steelers beating the Stingrays by 3-1. So, all those points, let's take a look at the 2 conferences. Nottingham lead the way in the Erdhart, 3 points clear of Sheffield. And then look how tight it is though in the Gardner Conference. I say that, but actually Braehead have stretched it a little bit. They're 4 points clear of Dundee. There was only 4 points separating all 5 a couple of weeks ago. So let's throw the 2 conferences into the hat, see what comes out. And the Nottingham Panthers. Every week we say it, but every week it's looking more and more like the long wait could be shortly over and the Panthers lead the way. Down at the bottom, Cloutier will be a little bit concerned whether he'll be able to make the playoffs. I'm sure he's confident. Are you confident?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Extremely confident we'll make the playoffs.
Yeah. What gives you that confidence looking at that table right now?
Well, if you look at the schedule, we control our own destiny. I think we got 15 games left in our conference and 9 or 8 against the Big Five. So we have a chance at our conference if we can get on a roll those 15 games that we have and win our home games. We definitely have a chance, and I believe we will make the playoffs. Okay,
let's just talk about a player that has impressed everybody in the last 4 or 5 weeks. Bruce Graham of the Nottingham Panthers. I noted the Elite League named him their Player of the Month. He's an interesting player, isn't he? He's a big, strong man, huge, long reach, and I think he's, 24, 25 goals already?
Yeah, I mean, he's a very skilled player, and I know a lot of teams were after him a few years ago, trying to bring him over, and he's come over here, and if you give him the time and space, he's got that big reach, and he's smart with the puck, and he's got great hand, great vision, and you know, you can just see right there that shot to give him that time there. He is going to put it back of the net.
I won't say he's gone unnoticed, because when you're about 8'3", you can't go unnoticed, can you? But when you're playing with Ling and Francis and Gallivan and all the stars they've got there, it's kind of allowed him to have that settling in process and then just really come to the forefront in the last few weeks.
Yeah, he has really stepped it up. I mean, obviously Nottingham with Ling and those guys, they're going to find their teammates, and you can see he's fit right in there with that group, and he's done a great job.
Okay, plenty of great Elite League hockey still to come. I suggest politely that you take in a game this coming weekend, and let me tell you folks, in both conferences there are some crackers. Let's start off on Saturday evening, where the Hull Stingrays are taking on the Edinburgh Capitals. I'm sure Cloutier would thoroughly recommend that you paid attention to that game. Braehead versus Dundee Stars, another Gardner Conference game. In the Erdhart division, Belfast taking on the Coventry Blaze at the Odyssey, and at the NIC, the Nottingham Panthers taking on the Cardiff Devils. We will be in Fife as they take on the Sheffield Steelers. We're recording next week's show up in Kirkcaldy, so please pop along to that game. On Sunday, the Steelers are back in Sheffield, taking on the Clan. The Coventry Blaze back at the Skydome, taking on Cloutier's Hull Stingrays. And the Edinburgh Capitals taking on the Dundee Stars in another Gardner Conference game. You'll be able to see all the highlights, all the goals, and any incidents that occur in those matches on next week's show, Friday at 5 p.m. on Sky Sports 4, repeated 6 hours later, Sky Sports 4 again. Plenty of great fixtures there. Your conference has a lot of tight, important fixtures this weekend.
Yeah, a lot of big games here this weekend, especially ours with Edinburgh. like I said earlier, we feel we have a chance of winning our conference, and I think the other 4 clubs in our conference believe the same thing too. So it should be exciting here down the stretch.
The fear was Braehead would run away with it. They haven't had a great end of 2012, which has kept, if you like, teams tight. But now it's up to the likes of Dundee, yourself, and Edinburgh to take points off the Clan, because it is rumoured that they're going to be bringing some reinforcements in.
Yeah, I'm sure they will be bringing new players in. But yeah, it's up to us. It's up to, like you said, the Fife, the Edinburgh, the Hall. We got to go in there and take points away from them. We all believe we can do that, and it's going to be extremely exciting for the fans the rest of the way. I mean, there's not one team that you don't know who's not going to make the playoffs or who's going to win the conference. So I think it's the formats. It's extremely exciting for the fans.
Jordan Kristanovic has the luxury, if you like, of having the money available to go and bring in a player from here and there. Is it something you'd like to do before transfer deadline day, or are you happy with your lot?
No, obviously, as a coach, you always look. I mean, if you can improve your team, you want to improve your team. And in Hall, we believe, like I said, we can win that conference. So if there was something we could do, obviously we would do it. But the group of guys I have in that room, I believe in those guys. I believe we can do it with the group we have. And it's up to us to play the way we can play every night and be consistent and not get away from not playing 60 minutes. If we play 60 minutes the way we did against the Sheffield and the Belfast, then we'll have our chances against the Edinburgh and Dundee and Fife.
Just give us a quick prediction of how you see the top of the table ending up, and who you predict will be the eventual Elite League champions.
I think Nottingham is going to win the Elite League. I mean, with the depth and the team they have there, I'd be very surprised if they don't pull it off.
Okay, thanks, Cloutier. Folks, thank you for joining us. We'll see you this time next weekend, looking back on all the action. Have a great hockey weekend.
Sponsors of the Elite Ice Hockey League on Sky Sports.